I am Angelica Del Rosario, and my group is tasked to discuss about women as daughters, access to education, gender parity. What is gender parity? According to United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia, gender parity is another term for equal representation of women and men in a given area. For example, gender parity in organizational leadership or higher education. In the subsequent slides, I will show you the reasons why less girls or young women have access to education compared to boys. First issue it is the restrictions on the right to education due to child marriage, early pregnancy, and parenting on girls and women. In an online article of UNESCO.org, it was revealed that 2% of countries worldwide, located in 3 different regions, restrict the right to education of married, pregnant, and parenting girls and women in their legal framework. It prohibits them from attending school or sitting an exam, limiting them to attend adult or evening classes, or separating them from their peers and isolating them for fear that they would influence other students. Further, there are 63% countries worldwide do not have a law that explicitly protects girls' right to education in case of pregnancy. On the other hand, child marriage is any marriage where at least one of the parties is under 18 years of age. 18% of the countries worldwide still allow marriage before the age of 18 years old for girls. So what are the effects of this to girls or women? First is dropping out of school or expulsion with low to no chance of return to school, facing harsh social sanctions and being shamed by family and peers. Another is being left to tend to household free labor such as taking care of the husband, children, and sometimes extended family members, and health risk and higher chances of maternal and neonatal death. Another issue is the gender-based violence in schools and corporal punishments. Gender-based violence in schools and corporal punishments include sexual harassment, bullying, physical assault, and psychological abuse that occurs in and around educational settings, often driven by gender norms and stereotypes. Unfortunately, 18% of countries worldwide do not provide protection, and 12% authorize the use of corporal punishment. So what are the effects of these to girls or women? First one is poor academic performance. Another is the fear and trauma it can cause them to dislike attending school and never return. Another is physical and mental health issues, impaired cognitive and socioeconomic development, and increased aggression. Third issue is the reduced educational access and retention due to shift in digital learning. During the COVID-19 pandemic, it was recognized that young women and girls are one of the vulnerable groups in terms of educational access and retention. This is because of internet connectivity problems due to socioeconomic status of the learner and economic recession, and the need to help with household chores. This leads for young women and girls in considering delaying their education and taking some time off their studies. This is true to some parents who have lower value on girls' education and intend to keep their daughters at home even after the reopening of schools. The effects of these to girls or women are putting education the least of their priority and may consider a time off from school, less hours of studying due to household responsibilities resulting in poor academic performance, and low chances of returning to school. Our fourth issue is the female genital mutilation. In some countries and culture, this is being practiced as part of their tradition and social norms or as a way to control female sexuality. Its effects to girls or women, short and long-term consequences such as severe or chronic pain and psychological trauma, which prevents them from attending school. For the last issue is the gender stereotyping in the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics or STEM workforce. According to the United Nations Women, in a global setting, 1 in 3 researchers is a woman, while 21% of women hold science, engineering, and ICT jobs. Also, 17% of inventors in international patents were women compared to 83% men. The study also revealed that women are twice less likely than men to know how to write a computer program. So what are the effects of this to girls or women? It gives girls an idea that these professions are less welcoming for women. And fewer women in the STEM workforce results to fewer role models for young girls to motivate and inspire them to take this profession, and can also result to low support system.
Which school of thought on feminism best explains the issue? The issue on gender parity or equal representation of women and men can best be understood through liberal feminism and intersectional feminism. What is liberal feminism? Liberal feminism focuses on advocating for equal rights and opportunities for women in all areas of society, such as education, work, politics, and legal representation. It emphasizes the importance of legal reforms to ensure gender equality. When we talk about gender parity in areas like organizational leadership or higher education, liberal feminism argues that women should have the same opportunities as men to succeed in these domains. It pushes for affirmative action and equal opportunity laws to break down barriers that limit women's advancement due to systemic sexism. Another is intersectional feminism, which emphasizes that issues of gender inequality cannot be viewed in isolation. Gender parity issues are deeply intertwined with race, class, ability, sexuality, and other social identities. For example, a black woman may experience different forms of discrimination than a white woman, and but may face unique barriers compared to men. Intersectional feminism would argue that achieving gender parity in leadership or higher education requires understanding and addressing how various factors intersect and create diverse barriers to women's participation. Gender parity in leadership or education is not only about gender but also must address systemic racism, classism, and other inequalities. What rights of women are violated and what laws on women are violated? Number one is their constitutional rights. In Article 2, Section 14 of the 1987 Constitution, it recognizes the role of women in nation building and ensures the fundamental equality of men and women. In Article 14, Section 1, it guarantees that the state shall protect and promote the right to quality education and ensure access to it for all citizens. We also have domestic law supporting gender parity in education. RA 9710, or the Magna Carta of Women, which mandates non-discrimination in education and ensures equal access to scholarships and other learning opportunities. It prohibits expelling or denying access to education for pregnant students or young mothers. We also have RA 10908, the Integrated History Act of 2016, which promotes inclusive historical narratives including the recognition of women's contributions. The Republic Act 10354, or Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012, this includes education on reproductive health to empower young women with knowledge about family planning and maternal health. And also RA 9262, or the Anti-Violence Against Women and Their Children Act of 2004. This protects women from violence, which can be a barrier to education. And also RA 10627, or the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013, which addresses gender-based violence and bullying in schools, which often affects female students. There are also international commitments. The Philippines is a signatory to the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women and the Beijing Platform for Action, which call for gender equality in education. The country aligns with UN Sustainable Development Goal number 4 on quality education and Goal 5, gender equality, emphasizing the elimination of gender disparities in education. And also protections against gender-based barriers, protection from child marriage, or Republic Act 11596, prohibition of child marriage law, which criminalizes child marriage, a significant barrier to education for young girls. and also the support for young mothers. Policies exist to allow pregnant students and young mothers to continue their education. And also, the opportunities for women on STEM strand, these in the field of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. There are government scholarships and programs that promote women's participation in this field. In summary, when gender parity is not achieved or women face discrimination in leadership roles or higher education in the Philippines, they may be subjected to violations of the Magna Carta of Women, the Constitution, and other laws designed to protect against gender based discrimination in the workplace, education, and public spaces. If there is a failure to enforce these laws, it can contribute to the continued marginalization of women in these spheres.
Evening, everyone. So this is just the continuation on gender parity access to education. So the question here is, how is this issue resolved? Describe the actions or movement. If not resolved, recommended courses of action. So this is still with regards to the gender parity access to education. So, in the first issue, restriction on the right to education due to child marriage, early pregnancy, and parenting on girls and women. As of today, through the efforts of the international community, 57% of the world guaranteed the right to education without discrimination based on sex or gender by passing related laws in their respective countries. So, same here in the Philippines, there are various laws that protects women with regards to the education. Primarily, we have the Republic Act 9710, which ensure that women, including pregnant students, will have equal access to education. For the second issue, child marriage, enacting laws by some countries putting a minimum age for legal marriage, often at 18 years old females with no exceptions, while some with restrictions such as providing parents for judicial consent and criminalizing child marriage. So the UN adopted the UN General Assembly's resolution on child early and forced March urging its members to take action and emphasizing on education, gender equality, and the protection of girls' rights. So, just in the Philippines, there are various laws as well. Primarily, just enacted in 2021, we have the Republic Act number 11596, also known as Prohibition of Child Marriage Law, which, as declared, child marriage as illegal and punishable by law. So on the third issue, we have the gender-based violence in schools, bullying, and corporal punishment. 16% of the countries provide for a wide protection, including protection for corporal punishment and physical, psychological, and sexual abuse, and 52% of countries worldwide have partial protection through their respective legislation. UNESCO and UN developed global guidelines to address school-related gender-based violence. Schools introduce programs in educating students and staff about gender equality and harmful effects of gender-based violence. So, enacting laws criminalizing gender-based violence. Here, in the Philippines, we have the Anti-Bullying Act and protects as well the women with regards to gender-based violence. On the fourth issue, we have the reduced educational access and retention due to shift in digital learning. So in the Philippines setting, our education sector adapted the Learning Continuity Plan to ensure continuity in education, inclusion, and education for all. This includes adopting multiple learning modalities and platforms such as digital, online, and offline television, video, and printed materials. Creation of learning resources and platforms committee to guarantee that appropriate learning resources of good quality are made available and that necessary platforms are engaged. So, as previously mentioned, the problem when the um, when there is a shift from face to face to online, research says that women are tasked to do household chores. So, with this issue, this is resolved by having much more available resources, and presently there is already no COVID anymore. So, face to face is highly encouraged, especially in high school and elementary. So next issue, gender stereotyping in STEM or the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics workforce. So in this issue, the it is resolved by having an increased support and funding for women's empowerment. Women in STEM education and technical vocation education, gender training or capacity building, empower the men to advocate women's empowerment. So there is indeed a preference um, with regards to men in STEM industry. So there is a gap between men and women in this STEM education courses. So it is primarily resolved by having different advocacies, and that advocacies and empowering the not only men but the society, that women can be involved in STEM or highly technical education and even on industries. So that's all. Thank you.